I'm Luciana Denegri, partner at Beccar Varela, one of the biggest law firms in Argentina. Our team included partners Fernanda, Mierez, and Levi, and our associates Victoria, Pavani, Inés, Cappelletti, Julián, Ojeda, and Belén, Tschudy. Our project is called The Financing of NGOs Through the Capital Market, highlighting Sumatoria's simplified negotiable obligations and social, green, and sustainable bonds. The problem that this project tried to solve is the financing difficulties that civil associations like Sumatoria have. A civil association is the legal model generally adopted by non-profit organizations in Argentina. Until 2021, civil associations were not allowed to access the national capital markets, limiting financial inclusion and also preventing stock market investors and financial institutions from supporting their efforts. This has now changed. In Argentina, NGOs play a very important role in the current context of a serious economic and social crisis that is complementary to the government in assisting vulnerable populations. Today, 43% of Argentines are below the poverty line. Taking into account access to health, education, food, housing, public services, work, and healthy habitat, 70% of the population saw at least one of these fundamental rights affected. Over 50% of Argentine children are poor. One of the most important impediments to NGOs' performance is the shortage of funds. It was essential to find a lasting solution so that not-profit organizations with self-sustainable economic models could lead to financing mechanisms. The capital market was a great opportunity to achieve this. Sumatoria is a non-profit civil association that aims to promote sustainable financing by expanding access to financial services and investment instruments to entrepreneurs, projects, institutions, and companies with positive social and environmental impact. Beccar Varela proposed collaborating with Sumatoria to explore the possibility that NGOs could access alternative financial sources and working together with the securities regulator and together with all the other parts, Sumatoria could issue its first bond. Sumatoria has now issued 3 social, green, and sustainable bonds, including pioneering with Argentine's first sustainable bond with a gender perspective, in which Banco Comafi, Banco Galicia and Buenos Aires, and Banco Santander Argentina acted as guarantors. Bonds were issued through a new simplified process implemented by the regulator. However, it was necessary to adapt their bylaws and to comply with all the requirements in order to access to the financing. In this sense, we facilitated the dialogue between Sumatoria, the National Securities Commissions, and all the banks who act as guarantors so that Sumatoria could issue their bonds. It was also necessary to adapt this new mechanism to civil associations and to implement quickly all the requirements in order to access to the capital market. We also led the authorization process before the National Securities Commissions, the market where the bonds are listed, and the deposit agent. Sumatoria bonds were aligned with the International Capital Market Association social and sustainable bond principles. In all cases, they were issued following the Securities Commission guidelines for the issuance of social, green, and sustainable securities in Argentina, and they were listed in a specific listing panel of the stock market, Bolsas y Mercados Argentinos S.A. Furthermore, the local firm San Martín, Suárez y Asociados issued a second opinion report, while Universidad 3 de Febrero acted as Class 1 grade verifier. The issuance of the 3 bonds was for a total amount of Argentine pesos 210 million, equivalent to almost 1 million. While we recognize the amounts may not seem the greatest at a global scale, the real result and impact is that NGOs can now use and replicate this new financing channel and scale up social projects that otherwise may not have ever seen the light. As a concrete example, the last issuance was oversubscribed 11 times the offer amount, which demonstrates the interest these instruments have awakened. As a result of these three issuances, Sumatoria currently finances 33 projects throughout the city of Buenos Aires and 10 provinces, demonstrating truly national impact. It directly involves 1,205 people working on the projects financed and indirectly 76,401 people working on the funded projects. Sumatoria only supports projects that are aligned with its principles. Some of the projects financed through Sumatoria bonds are related to access to housing, access to healthy food and necessities, between others. As regards the moment we start working, we were involved from the beginning. The project began in April 2021 with the first viability analysis, which was followed by conversations with the authorities of the National Securities Commissions, the guarantor banks, and the markets. In addition, we helped Sumatoria since its incorporation. We were the firm that helped them legally in the registration as civil association. This groundbreaking legal structure has already proven its impact through an NGO historic access to local capital markets. The result is scalable, since the doors to capital markets financing have been now open to NGOs across the country. We believe the Sumatoria project was very innovative because of the following. In the first place, it has created a financing tool with positive social and environmental impact that generates an inclusive and sustainable model through the development of sustainable projects that could not be financed due to the existence of a large financing gap. In the second place, financing is now implemented through the issuance of negotiable obligations aligned with social, green, and sustainable rules. With their net production, microcredits are granted to NGOs that exceed a certain impact standard, being the first case of a microcredit institution that managed to finance itself through the Argentine capital market. In the third place, this project attracts 3 local financial entities to join the project, reducing investment risk and at the same time obtaining security due to the granting of a counter guarantee consistent in the assignment of certain credits through an innovative structure. To back the debt issues in the capital market by Sumatoria, investors are guaranteed by at least one bank. At the same time, these banks are counter-guaranteed by the credit assigned by Sumatoria. In this way, the risk for investors and guarantor institutions is reduced. For the latest negotiable obligations issuance, Sumatoria managed the participation of a syndicate of companies called Sociedades de Garantía Recíproca, unique to Argentina, which provides guarantees to borrowers transferred as guarantees to banks. Beccar Varela supported Sumatoria to make this possible, helping them in all legal aspects of this innovative structure. For the administration of the credits, TMF Trust Company assumed the role of guarantor agent. As a result, Sumatoria bonds for market investors involve a risk similar to guarantor banks, whereas for banks, finally, the assignment of Sumatoria credits can be assimilated to claims against the Sociedades de Garantía Recíproca themselves. The project has demonstrated that not-profit organizations are reliable credit subjects and generators of positive impact on society. The borders of the financial system have been expanded, delivering financing to those who do not have access today. From the joint work between non-profit organizations, the financial system regulator, legal advisors, and others, which anticipate that new opportunities for impact business and projects will emerge along our shared path. The legal areas of the firm that were involved in this project are capital markets, led by Luciana Denegri, corporate and ESG, led by Fernanda, Mierez, and central bank regulations, led by Levi.